Fundamentally, I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that the future of Europe and the direction that Europe will take on whether it will be in a more pro-market direction or not is fundamentally up to the member states and what route the member states will take. When free market is à la mode in the member states, it tends to be more in à la mode here as well. And when it's not, it tends not to be. And whether Brexit would lead to us having a tougher job, those of us who actually believe in open markets and free trade, or whether we will be an easier job. If you would have asked me a year ago, I would say most definitely a tougher job. You know, everything. I'm a member of the International Trade Committee, and I can just, I would miss, and I will miss a lot of my British colleagues there. But now, I would say the referee is still out on that one. Because partly because I think there's a lot of world events, that happens, and just take not at least the American tendency towards isolation right now and how that actually sparks a renewed interest in trade deals and trade negotiations from the European side. And that is pretty broadly supported and gives some kind of maybe unmotivated self-esteem to the European Union, but still, the mood is a little bit better in some aspects. But more importantly, I think some of the member states that used to use Britain as an excuse now have to step up to the task. Well, you quoted Rutter's very good speech in Berlin. I could have signed up to many of the things he said there. I asked myself when I heard that, would he have said that, or a Dutch Prime Minister 2 or 3 years ago? And if I look, I read the paper from the Visegrad countries on the future of Europe. It's hard to say that it has a centralist agenda in that paper. And Rutte the same. The Scandinavian countries, if Sweden just could get its acts together and realize that it will probably be the first country to vote against everything connected with the social pillar and social dimension, and instead of trying to promote it, try to stop it instead. I think among the Scandinavian countries, we would definitely have a lot of countries that actually would feel a need to step up the task. So I think, and I'm very interested to see what happens to Germany. Because now when Schulz has finally moved on to the elephant graveyard, and if I listen to the discussions and worries within the Commission that the German government is not, delivering reform enough, maybe that's a good sign. I remember the last time we had the multi-annual financial framework and the budget debate. Angela Merkel's most important task in that negotiation was to see that David Cameron didn't leave the room so that she wouldn't end up with a bigger bill. Now he has left the room, which means that she will probably have to stand up for herself, and the German electorate will probably have more expectations on Germany taking a more reasonable stance. So I would say the dynamism within the European Union could very well shift in a positive direction, with a lot of member states having to grow up instead of hiding behind Britain. At least, maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic, but I'm born that way.